Hey guys, here we are in Unit 5. So if you struggle with Unit 5, um, remember this primarily is just it's division, and we're working on your normal long division, and we're working on dividing with decimals. So let's get started, shall we? We have 1,585 divided by 5. Remember, you always say what's inside the house first, right? So we're working on dividing with the house method, and you would divide with the house method whenever the dividend, which is the amount you have, the first number you say, is a lot larger than your divisor or what you're making groups of. So we have 1,585, and we're making groups of 5. So the first thing you do is go into the biggest place value. So how many 5s can you pull from 1? Well, you can't pull any 5s from 1, but you can pull 5s from 15. You can pull 3 of them. And then after you pull out a group, you say, what's left over? Well, I just took away every single piece, right? It took all 15 to make 3 groups. There's nothing left over. Bring down the next value. The next value is the tens place. So how many 5s can you pull from 8? You can pull only one group of 5. And then is there anything left over? Sure there is. You pulled out one group of 5. So you have 3 left over. Bring down the next number. How many 5s are in 35? Well, there's 7. There's exactly 7 5s in 35. And is there anything left over? No, because 7 times 5 is exactly 35. So that means there's absolutely nothing left over. So therefore, the answer is 317. Let's go to the next one here. The next one is 8,382 divided by 3. How many 3s are in 8? 2 of them. What's left over? 2. Bring down the next number. How many 3s are in 24? Well, 6 times 3 is 18. 7 times 3 is 21. And 8 is 24. So you can't take away 8, but you can take away 7. And then after you take away 7, there's 2 left over. Bring down the 8. How many 3s are in 28? Well, we said 7 is 21, 8 is 24, 9 is 27. So you pull out 9, which is 27, which gives you 1 still left over. Bring down the 2. How many 3s are in 12? Well, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 12. There's exactly 4. There's nothing left over, so your answer is 2,794. And then we have 7,882, and we are making groups of just 2. So how many 2s go into 7? 3, what's left over? 1, bring down the 8. How many 2s go into 18? 9, what's left over? Nothing, bring down the 8. How many 2s go into 8? 4 2s go into 8. What's left over? Nothing, it went perfect. And how many 2s go into 2? 1 2. You pull out one group of 2 from 2. What's left over? Nothing. It took everything. Therefore, the answer is 3,941. Now, this is where life gets a little bit more complicated. Huh? Let me adjust my camera here so I get a little bit more room. Okay, here we go. We have 5,865, and we are going to pull away groups of 15. Why is this nasty and difficult? Because, well, I don't know about you guys, but I never memorized my 15 facts, right? I can go 15, 30, 45, 60, and then my brain's like, yeah, I don't remember after that. So we're going to go like this. We're making groups of 15. The first number that's bigger than 15 is 58. So we are going to say how many 15s come out of 58. 15, 30, 45, 60. Those are the ones I told you I remember. So I already know it's got to be 3 because 4 groups is too much. Now, the way that you can check to make sure that's right is say, well, when I took away 3 groups of 15, that's 15, 30, 45. Right? So it's all about this number right here, what's left over. If this leftover amount is bigger than 15, then I didn't take away enough groups. So let's see. 8 minus 5 is 3. 5 minus 4 is 1. Oh, perfect. There's 13 left. I couldn't make another group of 13. So now I can bring down my next number to go with it. It's a 6. I know 15 times 10 is 150. So it's got to be close to 10. Let's try 9. So I'm going to check over here to see if 9's a good one. 9 times 5 is 45. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. If I take away 9 groups of 15, it'll cost me 135. Do I have enough? Yes, sir. I do have enough. I can put my 9 here. I can put my 135 here, so I can see what's going to be left over. And there's 1 left over. I bring down the last number, and I say how many 15s are in 15? 1. What's left over? Nothing. Perfect. Now, if I would have said 8, right, then my answer would have been what? My answer would have been 120. Yeah, if I had taken out 8, it would have been 120. And I would have said, oops, 120. Oh, man, I got 16 left. Oh, I could pull out another group. Let's make it a 9 instead of an 8. So it's all about adjusting with these double-digit divisors. And then here they're going to show us a problem where they show us the division problem, 16,704, and then divided by 12. And remember, whenever you see it like this, you say, okay, I could either put it in the house, I can slice it, or I can keep, change, flip it. Well, keep, change, flip it's for fractions. Slicing it would work if this number is a whole lot smaller or this number is a whole lot bigger than this number. So the best way to do these, obviously, is put them in the house. How many 12s are in 16? 1 group of 12 is in 16. Bring down the next number. How many 12s are in 47? This is a little more difficult. 12, 24, 36, 48. It's not 48, there's 3 of them. That's 36. What's left over? 11's left over. Whew, I almost could pull out another group, but not really. Ooh, 12 times 10 is 120, so it's got to be 9. I'm going to put a very light 9 in case I'm wrong. And I'm going to say, well, what's 12 times 9? Put it over here. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 1 is 10. It's 108. Perfect. 108. There's 2 left over. 108, 109, 110. So there's 2 left over. So that 9 was great. Put down the 4 next to it. And how many 12s are in 24? 12, 24, 2. Answer is 1,392. Never marked this one. I never marked it. 3 anyway. I marked this one? Yeah, I marked that one. Okay. At a sports store sold more footballs than volleyballs. The store sold 3 times more footballs than volleyballs. They sold 3,252 footballs. How many volleyballs? Well, all right, if they sold 3 times more footballs, shouldn't footballs be a bigger number than volleyballs? So it's footballs divided by 3 would show you how many volleyballs were sold. So here we go. 3,252 divided by 3. How many 3s are in 3? 1. What's left over? Nada. This is where a lot of people get confused. They don't know when to put that 0 up here, but look at, I brought down the 2. That means we're working now with hundreds. There's only 2 of them. You can't make groups of 3 with 2. So therefore, you literally put 0. Now you can bring down the next number to hang out with it. So if you have the 200s, the 5 10s, that's 25 10s. How many 3s can you pull out of 25? Well, if you count by 3s, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, it's 8. What's left over? 1. And then how many 3's go into 12? Well, 4. 3, 6, 9, 12. What's left over? Nada. That's perfect. 1,084. Now we get into the division with the decimals. Oh, this is so scary. Remember, when you have a problem, the dividend is totally allowed to have a decimal. There's nothing wrong with the decimal in the dividend. However, if your decimal is in the divisor, that means we have to count by it. And that's where we have an issue. So you got to get rid of that decimal. How in the world do you get rid of the decimal? You move it to make it a whole number. How do you make 5 a whole number? By getting the decimal on the other side of it. But in order to do that, it took me to move it 2 spots over. So therefore, I have to also move this one 2 spots over. So now I have 3,450 divided by 5. 3,450 divided by 5. How many 5s make 3? None. How many 5s make 34? 6. There's nothing left over. Bring down the 4. Bring down the 5. I'm sorry. So there's nothing left. So what? There's nothing left. Yes, there's something left over. There's 4 left over. 4 left over. Bring down the 5. Correction. Okay, so how many 5s are in 45? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 9. What's left over? Nada. Went in perfect, man. Bring down the 0. I took away 6 hundreds, 9 10s, and no ones. Answers 690. Here we go again. We got that decimal though. What are we gonna do with the decimal? Not allowed to have a decimal in the divisor. Pushed it over 1. You got to be fair. You got to push this one over 1 as well because you pushed over the other one 1. So now we have, let's get rid of that stuff. We have 1,142. I lied. I lied again. 11424. 11424. Ignore that 1,000 mark. And then we are dividing it by 12. How many 12s go into 1? How many 12s go into 11? How many 12s go into 114? Well, 12 times 10 is 120. So it's got to be 9. Once again, we can figure out what 9 times 12 is. Oh, I already did. It's 108. So over here, I say, okay, I pulled out 9 groups. It was 108. So I'm going to borrow 6, right? 14 minus 8 is 6. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, there's 6. And then nothing to be borrowed. So there's only 6 left over. Bring down the 2. How many 12s are in 62? Well, 12, 24, 36, 48, and then 48 is 60. So 5 is 60. What's left over? 2. Bring down the 4. How many 12s are in 24? 12, 24, 2. What's our answer? Our answer is 952. 952. Down here, we have 490 divided by 0.7. You're allowed to have that decimal on the outside. You're not allowed to have a decimal on the outside. Push it over. Now we're good? No, we're not good because the answer is going to be totally wrong. If you push this over, you're saying now we're counting by 10 bigger than 7. Ooh, so I have to also make it so it looks like I have 10 more than I used to, 10 times more than I used to. Now my answer will stay the same. How many 7s are in 4? None. How many 7s are in 49? 7 of them. What's left over? Well, nothing's left over. Oh man, all we have is zeros left. So that means there's 0 here, there's 0 here. Answer 7 100. This one probably tricks some people because you have to add that 0. So people probably, I bet you I got a lot of people that just told me it was 70. But remember, this 7 is now in the hundreds place. It is not in the tens place. So it's 700. How many 5s go into 2.5? Well, we have 2.5, and we're dividing it by 5. Uh-oh, there's a decimal. Oh, the decimal's over here. You're allowed to have that decimal. There's nothing wrong with that decimal. It just has to float up here. How many 5s go into 2? None. How many 5s go into 25? 5. So what's your answer? It's 5/10. And then we have 1800ths divided by 3. 1800ths divided by 3. 0.18 divided by trig. How many 3's go into 0? None. So you have a decimal. How many 3's go into 1? None. How many 3's go into 18? Ooh, well, I know 6 times 3 is 18. Let me make sure that's the right answer. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Yes. Last question is about a puppy. So we got this puppy, right? And it weighs 1 in 3200 pounds. Now that kitten, though, weighs 2400 of a pound. The weight of the puppy is how many times bigger than the weight of the kitten? Are you confused yet? So kitten equals puppy times what? Would this help us? Well, no, this wouldn't help us because look, the puppy's bigger. It says the weight of the puppy is how many times the weight of the kitten. So we should say kitten times something equals puppy. Now you ask yourself, does that make sense? Well, it says the weight of the puppy is how many times bigger than the kitten. So yeah, kitten times something equals puppy. That makes sense. So now the question is what operation? Well, let's say the kitten only weighs 1 pound and the puppy weighs 5. 1 times what is 5? 5. So how do you go from this to this to this? That's right. You divide. Mr. Stahl, why are you making this problem harder? You're making up weird numbers? No, these weird numbers made it easy for me to understand. So now, if I know that you take the puppy and divide it by the kitten to find this answer, then I'm going to take my puppy, 1.32, and I'm going to divide that by the kitten, 0.24. Now I say, okay, am I allowed to work on this? There's just a decimal. Yes, I am allowed to, because the decimal, I'm sorry, no, I'm not allowed to because the decimal's right there. So I have to go move over. So I move that over times 10 to the second power. I have to also move this over, because I got to do that times 10 to the second power. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have a new problem. We have 24 as our new divisor, and we have 132 as our new dividend. How many 24s go into 1? None. How many 24s go into 13? None. How many 24s go into 132? Good question. That's a really good question. So let's see. 24 times 10 is 240. Ooh, so 24 times 5 is half of that, which is 120. That sounds good. So I'm going to put a 5. I'm going to put 120. I'm going to say what's left over. Well, there's 1, 2. There's 12 left over. Ooh, so I can either put 5 in 12 24ths, or I could simplify that and put 5.5, or I know that 5.5 is 5.5, or I could say, oh, 132 is the same thing as 132.0, which would mean the 5 is 5 point, bring down the 0. I just said that 5 times 24 is 120. So that's another way I can get 5.5. And those, ladies and gentlemen, are your answers. So this is a pretty tricky unit. I hope the video helps you.